welcome to the Judo for Jiu-Jitsu tape series. My name is Brian Jones, and I'm a purple belt in Jiu-Jitsu and a black belt in Judo. And what I'm putting together is a tape series that covers Judo takedowns as they apply to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition. There's been a lot of emphasis on groundwork in Jiu-Jitsu, but very little on the stand-up game, which is a part of the game. So, although it's not emphasized as much as Judo, I think everybody that competes with the gi needs to learn enough Judo to be able to get the advantage. So when you're in a competition, when you hit the ground, you're up on points, okay, and you land in a good position. The first section of the tape covers the basics of break falls and landing properly. This is an often overlooked portion of takedown practice, but it's extremely essential for three different reasons. First of all, just the safety aspect. If you don't know how to land properly, there's a high chance of you getting hurt. Okay, so throws a lot of times are high impacts, and you need to have this as the foundation. Also, you need to be a good training partner for the person you're working out with. Okay, if you're afraid to take the fall, you're automatically going to stiffen up and defend so that they never get a chance to practice their throws properly. And the third reason is you need to have confidence in attacking. Okay, if I'm afraid of landing on the ground, I'm not going to come in full force when I come in for my takedowns. And if you don't come in without the commitment to land on the ground yourself, you're never going to be able to take your opponent down. Okay, the basic three falls are the front fall, the side fall, and the rear fall. And they're basically taught out the same progression. Okay, so we're going to start low to the ground and gradually build up the amplitude of the fall as you get comfortable. Okay, so we're going to start out with the back fall first. So from a seated position, okay, you're going to start with your hands crossed and your chin tucked. Okay, so the key is we want our chin tucked to prevent our head from smacking the mat and causing a concussion or a knockout. And we want to exhale as the bulk of our body hits the ground so that we don't get the wind knocked out of us. We practice smacking the mat is to increase awareness of where our hands are, because you definitely don't want to fall underneath, and you want to resist the urge to plant your arm, which can cause damage to your shoulder or your elbow. So the first thing we're going to do is cross the hands, tuck the chin, okay, and we're going to roll back, smack the mat, just like that. Okay, it's important that your body roll up and not just fall flat, okay? Because remember, you're going to be using this out of a live situation where the opponent, after having thrown you, or maybe you've fallen down, you're going to bring your feet up to prevent them from just jumping into the mount. So now you're in position to defend. So if there's a separation between you, you want your feet up. It helps dissipate some of the energy. So here, just like that. And this is the basic format that you would start with. Okay, once you've sort of mastered that and you've gotten the timing down, you're going to do it from a squatted position. Okay? Now typically I come up on my feet like this and start from the same position here, tuck the chin, and it's the same motion just from a little higher up. Going up. Okay, so basically the same thing. Now once you've gotten familiar with that, you're going to move to a standing position. Okay, and the first standing position fall is you're not jumping. Okay, we're starting from a standing position, and then we're going to lower our level, squat down, and roll back. And then later, if you want to add a little more impact, you can jump. So starting here, crossing the hands, tucking the chin, squat, and then come back up. Just like that. Okay, and finally the last one, which doesn't need to be practiced a whole lot, but you can add a little impact to it, is where you start from standing, you kind of launch yourself backwards to jump. So you do this as the last series, the last part of the progression. Okay, so definitely don't start out with this. So you're here, crossing your arms, jump, and come back. So one more time. Here, squat, jump. Okay, this never will feel good, but you won't get hurt if you do it properly. Okay, the next fall that we're going to cover is the side fall. And this is really important because most of the time when you get thrown by a judo throw or a takedown that's not like a double leg or wrestling style, you're going to land more on your side than you are on your back. Okay, so this one is a really important takedown or a break fall to master. So the mechanics are basically the same. Okay, the chin tuck, the slap, and the roll up, but you're just going to be more on your side. Okay, so we're going to go through a little bit faster than we did the last time. I'm going to show you the seated, the squatted, the standing, and the jumping variations of this. So you're going to start out with your foot posted, and this is usually, you know, this position is pretty common to jiu-jitsu for the stand-up anyway. So you're here, okay? What you're going to do is bring this hand or both hands up, however you want to do, and you're going to roll onto your shoulder. So if this foot's straight, I'm going to roll onto my right shoulder. So I roll back, keep my chin tucked, and this hand comes over. Just like that. And again, I'm letting my legs roll up because I don't want to stay completely flat. This is bad because if I take a fall like this, then immediately somebody can jump over. So again, here, just like that. And on the other side, exactly the same thing. So here, just like that. Good. Okay, so squatted version, I'm going to start just like the other one, except this foot's going to be a little further forward. Okay, now when I fall, I'm going to shoot my right leg, since I'm falling on my right side, I'm going to shoot my right leg straight and then go back onto the shoulder. Again, this hand slaps. Up and just like that. One more time. Okay, I'll do it once on the other side. So left leg shoots straight, right leg or left hand smacks. Okay, now we're going to move into the standing position. Again, you don't have to jump for this first variation. You're going to straighten your leg, and then you're going to descend gradually. So I start out with my left leg forward. If I'm falling to my right side, I'm going to swing my leg up in front, just like that. Just like I was going to swing my hand and knock my leg up in front of my body, and then I'll fall onto my right side. Left side, again, swing the left leg and the arm up, smack. Make sure you tuck your chin and you exhale when you hit the ground to prevent, knockout or getting the wind knocked out of you. Okay, finally, the jumping variation. So all I'm going to do now is swing my leg up and I'm going to launch myself back just a little bit. So I'm here, coming off the ground, a little more impact. On the left side. Okay, the next one is a front fall. So occasionally you're going to get taken down towards the front. Somebody's behind you, they might do an ankle pick and drive you forward, and you need to know how to handle that. A lot of times in judo, people will spin to their stomachs to prevent being scored on. So this fall is useful, but probably not as useful for a jiu-jitsu player as a judo player. However, it's a good idea to learn it just because, again, the more confidence you have with hitting the ground from a standing position, the more confidence you have in your attack, the better training partner you can be, and the safer that you're going to be able to train. So we're going to start this one from a squatted position. There really isn't a seated position for this. So I'm starting here, okay? And I'm going to bring my hands up. Now what I'm going to do is shoot my legs back and stay up on my toes. Okay, and then I'm going to put all the weight on the palms and the forearms. And I'm going to keep my head from off the ground. I like to turn my head to the side just because it's a little more stable than if I look straight down. So I'm here, I'm going to shoot my legs back and hold myself up. Okay? Occasionally it's going to happen that you're going to flatten your lower body out too. If that happens, it's not such a big deal if your whole lower body goes flat, as long as you're taking the weight here. So it's almost like a sprawl at this point. Okay, what I don't want to do is to post my hands straight. So I'm going to shoot the legs back and out and take the fall here. Okay, I'm going to go once from the side so you can see the same thing. Squatted, I'm going to shoot the legs back. Okay, now from a standing position, it's pretty much the same thing. I squat down a little bit and shoot the legs behind me. So here. Okay, the last thing, and this is part of break falling too. A lot of times jiu-jitsu classes will cover this, sometimes they won't. But this is just basic movements for rolling techniques. So whenever you hit the ground, it's a good idea to be able to roll if you have to. That takes some of the sting out of the fall. So what we're going to do is just cover the basics. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I think this is something that should be incorporated in to warm-ups, just like the break falls. Okay, the first thing is a forward roll. I'm going to do it from a squatted position and then from a standing position. The squatted position is to get you used to it, and then the standing position is once you get comfortable with it. So I put 1 foot forward. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot my hand back, okay, as far as I can. And that's going to throw this shoulder forward. Okay, so I throw this back and I go down the blade of my hand and over the shoulder. And I'm going to land in the side fall position. So here, just like that. Okay, now if you want to roll all the way up, that's fine. Or if you want to flip over, and you can incorporate this and take a break fall. Okay, so with the break fall, here, just like that. So that way you're blending two different movements together. From the other side, here. Just like that. Okay, from standing, it's basically the same. Okay, 1 foot comes forward, and then I'm going to go straight to the ground. All the way up. If you're doing multiple reps, you just roll up to a standing position, like I'm going to do now, here. And you're ready to go again. You can switch sides, or you can do them all on the same side. Okay, the back roll. And this is the other basic one. A lot of times, this is shown, this is a good drill for a number of reasons, even for ground grappling, to prevent getting stacked or escaping an arm bar, but it's also a good idea just to practice with the break falls. Okay, so here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch my arms out. I'm going to roll back, okay, and I'm going to throw my feet to one side of my head. Okay, I'm not going straight over my neck. My feet are going to go to one side or the other. Okay, not like this. This is wrong. Straight over is wrong. I'm going to crunch your neck. So, I stretch the arm out, and I roll onto this shoulder. Palm turns over, and I come up. Again, here, throw the feet over, rotate the arm, and then come up. Okay, if you want to practice a little more useful ground variation of this, then you're going to swing your back leg through so that you could maintain the guard if necessary. So here, this leg right here swivels underneath into a seated position. So the other side, I'm here, I roll over and come up. With the leg swivel, I'm here, I roll, swivel the leg under, and seated position. Okay, a lot of people are going to say, well, it takes a lot of time to train break falls. I don't have time. I want to work on the offensive and defensive techniques. But actually, it takes very little time to learn break falls, and they can be practiced at different points. They make a great warm-up activity. So instead of doing jumping jacks or something that has absolutely nothing to do with grappling or judo or jiu-jitsu, then you can incorporate these falling drills and rolls and things like that into your routine to get your heart rate up, plus you're practicing a skill. So it really doesn't add in training time.
In your experience, what is the benefits of judo in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition?
Well, judo is primarily a gi takedown sport. A lot of people will try to train wrestling throws for judo, which they don't always translate very well because you have different handles and people are able to stop your shots. So I think judo is a much more effective takedown style for gi competition than wrestling. So I mean, a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts in Brazil are also judo players, and they use that to their advantage. Because if you land on the ground with 2 points up, a lot of times you're going to win. So you always want to get that advantage, and you want to use the throws. A lot of the throws are really high amplitude throws, so they hurt. When you put the guy down really hard, it gives you an advantage because he may have the wind knocked out of him. Okay, now we're going to cover the basics of gripping. This is often neglected, but you don't start out gripping your opponent in a match. Okay, so you have to make sure that you can get a proper grip, and if your opponent has a strong grip, you need to be able to break it, because gripping can make or break the takedowns. So just some general principles. Okay, if Jason and I are squaring off, and he's starting back a little bit, okay, we just started a match. Okay, we're not in contact with each other right now. Okay, this is the time when the wrestling type double leg shots are really going to be available to him and to me, because there's nothing to stop us from going in. Once we have a grip, then he has to drop under my grip, and it's really hard to get that loose if I've got a good grab on his gi. So right now is when I really need to worry about my legs, him attacking my legs. So I'm going to take a more wrestling style stance until we make contact. Okay? A lot of times you'll see in the judo thing, you're supposed to stand upright. You're supposed to keep as upright a posture as possible, which is fine, and you should once you make contact. However, from this distance, if I stand up like this, it's really easy for him to shoot a double leg. Okay, I've got no defense at this point. Okay, and if it was a judo tournament, I could probably spin to my stomach and not get scored on. But if it's a jiu-jitsu tournament, that's totally out of the question. Okay, so he would still get the takedown, plus he would probably be on my back for 4 points, which is not what I want. Okay, so I'm going to take a bent over wrestling position with my elbows in, all right, and my head up. That way I can sprawl if he decides to shoot. Okay, and we're not really going to cover the sprawl in this tape, but with the sprawl, if he shoots on me at this distance, okay, if I don't have my arms under, if I have my arms under, that's fine, okay? If I'm low and he gets under my arms, all right, I can still sprawl and get my hips out of the way. Okay, both of those are important. I can't do that, or it's going to be a lot harder to do that if I'm standing up really high like this. Okay, so that being said, when we make contact, our goal for a gripping situation is to try to grip him first. Okay? From here, neither one of us has any control of the other person's movement. Okay? If I have a grab on him now, I have more control than he does. Okay? So even though I only have one grip, I can start pulling him around, and all he can do is react to me until he either grabs me or gets this grip loose. Okay? So my first goal is to make sure I make contact first. And I want to get a grip that I can use. Okay? I don't really know any takedowns from here. Okay? So I'm not going to grab that. Okay? And if I do grab that, it's only going to be to pull him into another grip that I can use. Okay? So the thing is you want to be purposeful for your gripping. You can wear your grip out really easily just grabbing him. But if you don't have some sort of a takedown in mind, there's really no point in grabbing him there and just pulling him around the mat. Okay? So you want to learn your throws and then look back and find out what grips that you like to throw from. And at that point, you know what to grab. Okay, if all my throws come from this position, that's what I'm going to do. If I have to walk up, I grab him first here, then feed this in. Now I'm ready and set to throw. Okay? If I don't know any throws from a position, I'm not going to go into it. Okay. The next thing we want to do is to work on grip breaks. Okay, so our goal, we know, is to grab him first. Well, what if he grabs us first? What if, he makes first contact? So I'm out here, and he reaches in and grabs my gi. Okay? I'm going to assume he knows something from this position. Okay? I'm going to assume that he's gripping me for a purpose. And if that's the case, I definitely don't want to sit and wait around for him to improve this grip and then take me down. So what I want to do is to try to get this loose. Unless I want this here for some reason, unless I have a throw which involves him gripping, I'm going to try to get this grip loose. Okay? So the first one we're going to work on is sort of a mid-lapel grip. I mean, a lot of people are going to grab you here. This is real common. It's a perfect handle. Okay? I'm going to work on getting this free. If he grabs the same side like this, okay, I'm going to re-grab my own gi right under his hand. And then I'm going to grab his sleeve. Okay? So re-grab here, and then grab the sleeve over top. Now from this position, I'm going to move two ways at once. I'm going to push this towards the open part of his hand, okay, like that, as I push his hand and wrist away explosively. So I get my grip from this point, and then I'm going to pop this way and this way. Okay, and I'm going to maintain a grip on his sleeve because now I have the advantage. I'm gripping him. I can start moving him around the mat with it, or improve my grip. So he grabs me, I re-grab, and pop this loose. Okay, and then I like to go to the outside, but it doesn't matter what you do as long as it fits with your game from here. But you do want to maintain control of the sleeve. Okay, one more time. He grabs, I'll pop the grip loose, and I like to improve both hands. Keep a tight hold of this, because if you pop the grip loose and leave him here, he can shoot on you or, just re-grip you, and now you've lost the advantage. Okay, the next break that I want to cover is the cross grab, okay? If the guy grabs you here, the principles are really similar. Okay, what I'm trying to do is to move two directions at once so he can't hold on. Again, I'm going to grab under his hand, and I'm going to grab his sleeve. Okay, this time, since it's a cross grip, I'm going to have to twist my body and pull the gi away this way against the fingers, and the other hand is going to push out in this direction. So here, to pull the hand. And again, okay, I reinforce the grip so that we're going to work on a couple of takedowns from that position actually later. So I'm here, okay, grab and grab, pop it loose, step away. So I'm twisting my whole body. It's not just an arm pull. So it's the arm, but it's also the torso and even the step to kind of twist back. And this pushes off in that direction. Okay, the next one I want to cover is against a grip if he grips a little lower. Okay, now with a little lower, I mean, you could still do the other one that we worked on, this kind of a twisting motion, but I think this one works a little better just because of the angle. So what I'm going to do is grab over top. So he grabs here, I grab his sleeve with both hands. Okay, and from this position, I'm going to pop my hips back like I'm trying to sprawl and simultaneously do like a tricep press down motion. If you've been done that exercise in the gym. So I'm going to punch my arms straight and pop my hips back at the same time. So I'm here, pop, and I've got the sleeve. Okay, so he grabs again, here, pop the hips back. And the reason I do this one against the lower, it doesn't work as well up here. It's still possible, but you've got a lot more push as you pop your hips back at this point. So one more time. Here, and maintain the sleeve grip. Okay, the next grip break that we're going to do is against a sleeve grip. You can use this from either side. I'll show you first when he grabs this side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we may be in a gripping situation here. He may have me gripped with the other hand. I'm going to break this grip loose by using my shin. Okay, so I'm going to push. I don't want to raise my shin up too high because if I'm up on one leg, very vulnerable to takedown. So I'm going to keep some downward pressure. He has grip on me, but he has to follow my hand. So I'm going to push it down. Then I'm going to pick this leg up and put my shin into his wrist. Strip that loose. And at that point, I've got an open side to attack. So he grabs here. I push this down, and I strip the grip loose. Okay, the key is to maintain your balance and not spin too long on one leg. Just long enough to pop it loose. So you pick it up, push it forward. Okay, if he grabs the cross sleeve, you can do the same kind of move, you'll just use the other leg. Okay, so from here I push, I force this down, and I strip this loose. A lot of people are used to this from the ground, jiu-jitsu, but it works from standing as long as you don't put your weight on that one leg for too long. So you have to do it immediately. Okay, this next one works against a high collar grip, and this is pretty common too. If he grabs high on me, okay, I don't have a whole lot of, I can't twist here very much. I can't pull out this way. So what I'm going to do is turn against his elbow to break this grip loose. So I'm going to grab over top. So I'm going to re-grab, and I can grab here, like grabbing his sleeve, grab over top, and now from this position, I'm going to bring my elbow down. Okay, hold on here. Bring my elbow down and turn it in so that I'm almost locking his arm in a Kimura type motion. So I'm here, down, and in. Okay, now that alone has weakened his grip and has set me up for, set him up for several takedowns that I can do. But I can use it to pop the grip completely loose. If I walk down and then I rip it off this way. And now I have, again, a grip on him. He's turned around. So I'm in good position. So again, he grabs high, I grab his sleeve and over top, all right, do this down and attack here. And now I can go into whatever else I want. Okay, the key to learning this is I can do this all day if he's standing there and letting me do this. Okay, I mean, there's no resistance. But the key is, to train all your movements with resistance, because the resisting partner. So you want your training to be alive in that sense that you don't have to do, we can just work this grip drill, okay, which is what we're going to do now. We're just going to take turns grabbing each other and breaking the grip loose. Okay, and later when you learn the throws, you can get it to where he grabs you, you break the grip loose, you move and you throw him and you get back up and do the same thing. Okay, so it's sort of a free-flowing drill. So we're going to start out, he's going to grab here, pop this loose, move it, I'm going to grab him.
In your experience, what is the benefits of Judo in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition?
Judo deals primarily with gi takedowns. Okay, wrestling deals with no gi takedowns. And I think a lot of times Judo translates a lot better than wrestling just because of the, you have different handles, you have different ways to stop the shot. And a lot of people try to translate wrestling directly into Judo or Jiu-Jitsu competition, and it doesn't work out as well, which is why the favorite takedown of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu seems to be pulling the guard. People lean into each other, move around, forming an arch for a while until somebody gets tired and jumps to the guard. Okay? If you can get the takedown every time, you're up 2 points when you hit the ground, and a lot of times that is enough to win. So I really think Judo and Jiu-Jitsu seem to be kind of the same sport, a little bit different rules, taking Judo off in the takedown direction and Jiu-Jitsu off in the ground fighting direction. So there's sort of two sides of the same coin, and they definitely complement each other. Okay, the first throw that we're going to work on is called the kouchigari in Japanese, and also it's minor inner reap or minor inner clip. That way if you want to look it up, it's a Japanese name. It's usually listed like that in all the Judo books. Now this, basically what we're trying to do here is from this position, if he has sort of a wide stance, and I like this one if his leg, the leg that I'm going to attack is forward, so bring this like this. So here, and we're in this kind of a stance, okay? This is when I would use this move. Okay, a lot of the throws just don't work if you're, it depends on what your opponent or your training partner is doing, and whether you can use the throw in question, okay? So your foot position is really the key, and the gripping. From this position, what I'm going to try to do is put all of his weight in the diagonal that way. Okay, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to use the standard grip right now. I'm going to twist him like so. Okay, so I want all of his weight on this foot. And I want him to almost be falling down in that direction. Okay, once I get that motion, then I'm going to step in with the back foot and clip with the bottom of my foot, pulling from the hip. Not from the knee. Okay, I want to pull from the hip and drive him in that direction, okay? So what it looks like is I turn, and then I clip, and then I come all the way down. Okay, I like to combine this with a guard pass, straight into cross side. So this is the basic textbook form of kouchigari, okay? All right, so I'm going to twist him, and then I'm going to step and clip this part of the foot. The key is the direction is diagonal, it's not straight backwards. So I'm here, and straight in. I like to hop over that leg again, so I can go straight into the cross-side position. Okay, so what I'm going to do is show a couple of variations on this. Like, how do you set this move up? It's one thing, this is the problem with a lot of the tapes, is they show you the takedown, and there's no indication of how you set it up. If you think about this in terms of jiu-jitsu moves, you know, it's easy, the mechanics of the arm bar are easy. It's actually pulling it off on somebody that's where you get the sticking point. So what you have to do is to maneuver yourself and your opponent into a position where you can do the move. So we're going to work on a couple of setups, ways to get him to move so that I can attack. And some of these, they're all the same mechanics, but they're going to look a little bit different. Okay, the first one is a circular step motion. Okay, so I'm going to get him to take a step forward by pulling on his sleeve and by stepping back myself. And that's going to put him into this forward step position. Okay, and as he steps forward, or directly after he puts his weight down, I'm going to clip this foot and drive him towards the corner. Okay, so I'm just going to move him around a few times so that you can see the motion. I'm pulling here, okay, and I'm stepping back with this foot. Because now you see how that puts me in the position that I want. Circle step, okay, circle step, circle step. My foot's really close to his foot, okay, and I can catch his foot and drive him off into the corner. Okay, so let's do this. And again, I'm going to either catch him on the step or right after. Okay, so I'm going to step here, okay, step, and take him down. Again, step, step. If you catch him before he puts his foot down, it's a lot easier than if you have to hack it out from under him. So the timing is really important. Ideally, you want to attack with your foot as you step back. As soon as you plant your weight on your foot, and as soon as you see him start his step, you want to start your sweep. If you wait till you see him stepping and try to catch it when you land, he'll always be too late. So I step and immediately go into the sweep. Okay, so step and go into the sweep. So you want to attack when he starts his step rather than when he finishes it, because it takes your leg a little while to get there. Now the next setup for Kochigari is I'm going to pull him in to get his weight moving forward, and then when he balks and prevents me from pulling him forward anymore, then I'm going to attack backwards. Okay, this is the setup. Basically, you know, in any of these throws, you can do three things. You can wait for your opponent to move, okay, which takes impeccable timing because you don't know when he's going to move. So sometimes that'll happen. He'll step right into your throw as you're attempting it, but it's not good to rely on it. You can also, if you're a little stronger, pull him into the throw. Okay, he can be driving in. If I'm strong enough, I can just go ahead and throw him that way, even though he's not already moving in that direction. Again, that's really hard to do. Ideally, what you want to do is to make a motion that causes him to move in a way that you can predict. Okay, most people, if you grab them and start just dragging them across the mat, even if they don't know what they're doing, they're going to suddenly start resisting. Okay, because he's assuming I'm going to do something forward, some sort of a forward motion. Okay, so if I'm here and I just start pulling him, he's going to get scared. He doesn't know what's coming, and at the very least, he's going to try to pull back. Okay, and that's what I want, and that's what I'm anticipating. Okay, because the throw is actually going this way, back into a diagonal, not this way. So when he pulls away, then he's playing right into my hands on this. Okay, so what you want to do is to set it up, because I know he's going to pull back. So I'm going to drag him for this drill. I'm going to drag him a couple of times, and then he's going to pull against me. As soon as I feel that pull against me, I'm going to switch directions and just dash into him to do the throw. Okay, so I'm going to go through it slow without throwing first. So I'm here, I pull really hard, okay? I pull really hard, and now he drops his weight and it prevents me from pulling. At this point, I'm going to bring this foot up and take him off in that corner. Okay? So he has to come right off. I can't pull, let him start to defend, and then wait 3 seconds and do it, because then he'll shift his weight back. So it has to be immediate.
Here we go.
Okay, so I pull, and he starts to fight against me really hard. Now come in. That's better. One more time. Pulling, and then I come in. Okay, the next setup for Kochigari is from an over-the-back grip. Okay, and I like this grip a lot because people in jiu-jitsu tend to bend over. And what you can use is, you can use this grip because it's easy to get. A lot of times in judo, you really have to work to get over the guy's shoulder. Jiu-jitsu, it's not so hard because everybody seems to fight from here. Okay, so I'm just going to go through getting this grip. Okay, we come in. If he's not completely bent over, a lot of times he'll be like this. All I have to do is reach over and I'll grab his belt. Okay, that's pretty easy to do. But if he's not bent over, I just take the lapel, tug down really quick, and then reach over. Now, I'm sort of perpendicular to him at this point. Okay, he feels like he's got a takedown attempt right away. There's a couple of different counter moves we're going to do from this position, because as long as you have a hold of the sleeve, you're pretty safe. So, from here, a lot of guys are going to try to lift you up, okay, and either take you back, take you over the top, or however. But you can prevent this if, okay, there's some distance right between us now. And when he comes in, he's going to come in and start to bump me up, okay? And that's the point when I want to throw. I can't wait too long on this. My foot is really close to his foot, so when he comes in to try to lift, I go straight for the takedown and flip the foot. Okay, this is right when he's making his foot light by coming up on his toe to try to lift me up. And then again, I just kind of hop over the leg and I end up in a scarf hold position. Let's do it one more time from here and then I'll show another angle. So I get in this position, okay, he comes in to lift, and I take down. Okay, let's try it once from this way. So here he comes into lift. And take. Okay, the next throw is called a kosoto gari, which is a minor outer reap. It's pretty similar to this throw. It goes in the same direction. Again, it's just your bodies are different, positioned differently relative to each other, so you have to use a different leg to clip the foot. So I'm going to go with one of the grip breaks that we did before because I like this one off of a sleeve grip and the back grip. So if he grabs me here, okay, and I pop the grip loose using this grip. Now, what I like to do is go behind and grab the belt. Okay, so from the back, the position is here. I have my shoulder in the back of his shoulder so I can use it to pressure him forward. Okay, so this isn't a standard version of the takedown. This isn't like the textbook version of kosoto gari, but I think this one works a lot better as far as the jiu-jitsu tournaments go. So again, get the grip, go to the back. Now what I want to do is to clip this foot forward, but I'm taking him backwards. Okay, and the way I'm going to accomplish this, again, is I'm going to move him and make him resist me. So I'm going to push forward with my shoulder to try to work him forward. Most of the time he's not going to want this to happen. Okay, so as I feel his pressure moving backwards, I'm going to switch my grip and kind of push down on the belt and then rotate my body into him, clip this leg. So I push forward, okay, and then I go backwards. So here I get the grip, pop it loose, move in, drive him forward until I feel him resist, then I clip and turn. And cover. Okay, I want to take my hand out of the belt before he lands on it so that I don't get it pinned under me. Okay, one more time for a different angle. Side. Pop the grip loose. Turn. Okay, I drive him in. Flip, and turn into him. Again, I'm pulling from the hip. Okay, this kind of a motion as opposed to a bent knee motion. You don't have a lot of power that way. And you either want to hit the foot here, this is the contact surface, or you want to rotate it up and catch with the bottom of your foot. Either one will work. The bottom of the foot hurts you less, because sometimes you can drive your ankle into his ankle and it's a little painful. Okay, this next one is called an osoto gari. It's a major outer reap. It's a really common throw, and most people will probably have seen some sort of demonstration form of it. We're going to work on, I'll show you the mechanics, and then we'll work on two ways to set it up. Because setting this, again, this is one of those things where the setup is the key. Most people can do the throw against a non-resisting opponent. But getting somebody on the mat who's trying to defend is a different story. Okay, with osoto gari, again, it's going to the rear. Okay, so off at a 45-degree angle to the rear. From this grip, okay, I'm going to use the same off-balancing technique of driving his sleeve down and his head this way, kind of a steering wheel motion. His shoulder drops, it loads this foot. Okay? After I do this, I'm going to drop my level and step with this back foot towards that foot. Okay? And I'm going to bring this leg through like so. Okay. Now what's going to happen is this foot is going to be completely loaded with weight, and then my right leg is going to take it out from under it. Okay. This throw, it hurts really bad for the person taking the fall. Okay, that's good in the tournament, bad in training. So what you want to do is work on not crushing your opponent. Okay, in judo, typically the demonstration forms of the throw, you remain standing, and you can give an upward tug on the sleeve arm to cushion the fall. Okay, and in a tournament situation, you just drop your shoulder, you know, and try to stun your opponent so you get some extra free time on the ground to get whatever position that you want. So here, in, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do the throw, and I'm going to do the way that you should practice initially until you get used to this. Okay, here. Okay, notice I'm pulling up on the sleeve, give it a little tug right before he hits, and then he takes the fall. Okay, one more time. Here, drive in, step. Like so. Okay, once from this angle. Okay, I'm attacking this leg. Here, step through. Okay, now we're going to do a sotogari from the circle step setup. This is the same setup that we used last time on Kouchigari, when I get them to step in a circle. So I'm pulling, remember, here I've got this grip, okay, but I can use this grip too. You know, anything I can do to make him step forward with that foot. So I pull on the sleeve right here, okay, and step and pull. And 99% of the time he's going to step forward. Occasionally you're going to get somebody who doesn't, but you know, that's always going to happen. So you step forward with this foot, and this sets you up at an angle now. So as he comes forward, I twist the body this way and step through to read the leg. Okay, so let's do this. Pull in and come all the way through. Okay. Again, step and come in. Okay, this next setup is similar to the one we did. We're pulling him in to get a backward energy, and then once he gives us that, then we're going to come in and attack. What I like to do, a lot of times people are going to take this really defensive posture. So he's going to grab me and bend over, kind of a horse stance position, and it's really hard. I mean, he's got a stiff arm going here. You know, he's going to block me off if I try to come in. Okay, there's a couple of principles here. I can't go straight into it, right? But I can go at an angle, at a 45-degree angle, and come in, okay? Again, I can't go straight in, but I can open him up and go at a 45-degree angle by pulling the sleeve out just a little bit and twisting my body. Okay, so what we're going to do is kind of use that. We're going to combine it with pulling in and something that's kind of like shaking a rug out. Okay, I'm going to use my whole body to pull. I'm not just pulling with my arms. Okay, as I pull in, I'm going to be driving off. Okay, driving, lifting, pulling like this. If you've done anything like a power clean or whatever, your legs drive and at the top your arms pull. Okay, so this kind of thing. And I'm going to hit him with a couple of those because he's going to be off balance at that point. And when I feel any kind of a backward pressure, I'm going to go straight in. This also has the effect of breaking down the stiff arms a little bit. Okay, so from here, he's kind of stiff armed. He's sitting in sort of a horse stance. Okay, what I'm going to do is pull him in. So I get him coming forward, get him off balance, get him moving, and then I come in and attack with the throw. Here, okay, stiff arming me, right? I'm going to lift, pull, and then come all the way in. With those sotogari, it's really important to get this twist. I didn't mention this before, but I think this is a good point. If he just hit the stiff arm. Okay, what I want to do is kind of akin to throwing a cross. I'm twisting my body. And you can actually practice this as a drill. I come in, and I just punch him with my shoulder. Okay, that does two things. That gets the hip rotation element, which gets him off balance, but it also gets me used to making chest-to-chest contact, which is important for this throw. Okay, I don't want to try to throw him from arm's length away. What I want to do is slide in So that I'm here and I get my chest all the way in, but it's a really sharp pop, and that will load him up onto that foot. Now we're going to work on a takedown. It's an ankle pick takedown. It's called kabisu geoshi in Japanese. It's basically, it's similar to a wrestling ankle pick. There's a couple of different versions of it. We're going to do both of them off of this double sleeve grip. Okay, so I'm here. Okay, I'm going to pull this back, and then I'm going to get a hold of his sleeve. Now the key with this sleeve grip, either way, we're going to have to switch to this grip with the outside arm on top. I want to keep a downward. If I just hold like this, he's going to turn back into me, and it's not going to be doing anything. He's going to get his arm loose. So what I want to do is lean on this sleeve, okay? And I want to push down and in towards me. This way, he's sort of pinned to the ground now. He's got to carry my weight, and he can't move as effectively. Also, he's going to feel that downward pull, so he's naturally going to want to pull back up and sort of right himself. And that's what's going to play into our takedowns. Okay, so from this position here, the first one we're going to work is if this leg is forward, okay, which it will be a whole lot of times. Most people will bring this leg forward to keep it underneath their arm because they have more balance that way. Okay, so what I'm going to do from this position is as soon as I feel him sort of pulling up, I'm going to switch down and grab his ankle with this hand. It's important to do with the outside hand. So I grab the ankle, keep a hold of the sleeve, and as he pulls up, I'm going to lift and rotate him towards my left rear corner. Okay, so I'm moving him in a circular motion. So I pop the grip loose here. I feel him pulling up, and then I like to go with the knee straight with the knee in. You can attack with the arm bar, or you can just go knee on chest. So one more time. Okay, pop this loose, pull him down. Okay, grabbing, and I'm going to lift and turn to get the takedown. Let me show that one time from the other angle. So here, pulling the sleeve down, dropping into it. I'm going to grab the ankle and turn as he rotates. I'm going to start with the grip again. Here, I'm going to pop this down, and in case this foot is forward rather than this foot, okay, so whether he steps forward with this foot or if I try to grab this one and he steps back, then we're going to attack the far side ankle. So I'm going to drive the sleeve arm down towards his foot, drop down to my rear knee, take the outside hand, and clip, and come across. Okay, let's do that again. So here, I pop the grip loose, I kind of pull him in, he stops with that foot, and then I come across. Okay, one more time, the other angle, the other side. Okay, pop the grip loose, pull in, this foot's forward, drive the sleeve arm down, and attack. Okay, now I'm going to show a forward throw. Most of the throws that we've been working on so far are to the rear, where you throw them back at a 45-degree angle. A lot of the forward throws, the reason I don't show them is because I've adapted this Judo to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And you don't want to turn your back on your opponent if you can keep from it. A lot of the throws that you do in Judo, when you hit the ground, if you pull the throw off, it's fine because you win immediately. But in Jiu-Jitsu, you want to make sure that you can get in good position, because there's no point in throwing someone if they're going to end up on your back, or if the throw is dangerous enough that if you mess it up, then you get back mounted. It's just not worth the, point-wise, it's not a good trade-off. So what we're going to do is work on sort of a low risk forward throw called uchimata. And so it's an inner thigh lift, inner thigh reap. So what I'm doing is I'm turning, lifting one side, and then throwing them over. So it kind of goes through the mechanics of it right here. Okay, you can take whatever grip you want. I prefer kind of a high grip. It gives me a little more control, but you can also grip here. You can grip on this side, just however you practice it. As long as you take their body in the right direction. Usually, you're going to use this if he's kind of squatted down, which again I said is a pretty common defensive posture, and you'll see this a lot in jiu-jitsu tournaments, almost sitting into kind of a horse stance. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack this leg with this leg. So I'm going to step behind my foot really far, okay, and then I'm going to turn all the way around like so. Okay? After I do that, this foot is going to come up into the air, kicking that leg up, and I'm going to pull really hard here and try to rotate his body. So without actually throwing, I'm going to get him set up for it. I'm going to step here. Okay, one more time with that. Step and pull it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do the throw now. Step back. Make him all the way down. So one more time. Pull, lift, and throw him over. Okay, this one works best if they're pushing into you. It's a little hard to set it up if they're going backwards. So if he's walking towards me, it's fairly easy to do. All I have to do is turn and throw, which is the way we're going to drill it. So he starts to step towards me, and I'm going to let him take a couple of steps, and then I'm just going to turn and throw.
In your opinion, what do you think is the most overlooked aspect of takedowns and throws by most jiu-jitsu practitioners?
Well, takedowns and throws, obviously you get points for the takedown or the throw. But the biggest thing is the fact that you get good position on the ground. Unless your favorite position is fighting from the guard, then a takedown is going to put you in a much better position because you're going to land and cross-side if you do the throw properly. You're also going to stun your opponent so that you can pass the guard rather easily if you do get stuck in the guard. So the key is it puts you up. It also intimidates your opponent. They're more likely to try to pull guard, and that's maybe a disadvantage to them in case of a tie. So you sort of have the upper hand. You also, by training takedowns, you're going to be a lot better off than most jiu-jitsu players because most players don't spend any time on takedowns. So you're definitely got the advantage. One position that I find really advantageous for throwing people, a position that you can get into because of, we've already talked about the over the back grip. A lot of times when guys bend over, it's really easy to get a hold of their belt, and this is a really tight grip. As long as you have a hold of their sleeve, you're fairly safe from the shot. So if we're here and he's bent over, I'm going to take a grip here, okay? But I also have a grip on the sleeve. This is really important because if this comes loose, there's nothing to stop him from taking me down with a single leg or double leg or lifting me. Okay, so this sleeve grip is really important. The higher up on the elbow you can get, the better. Okay, so when I take this grip, I want to try to grab here, at least at the elbow, pop him down, and then grab with my shoulder on this side of the head. A lot of judo throws are shown like this, which is a good grip for judo, but it doesn't put you in a very good position on the ground because the guy's almost around to take your back. So this shoulder kind of helps keep them on this side of your body. Okay, so we're going to take this grip, and depending on what he does from here, we're going to have an opportunity for some different throws. Okay, so from here, probably one of the most common things that you'll see is the guy's going to try to attack because I'm standing sideways to him. Okay, I'm set up for throws, if he's not really familiar with these throws, then he doesn't know what's in store for him. So he's going to probably try to grab a single leg with his outside hand. Okay? Now, this is fine with me. As long as I have this grip, he can't finish the single leg from here. Because all the single leg attacks are either going to have him pick this up or block this far knee as he comes across. So what I want to do is keep this in tight. So when he lifts the leg, I'm set up for the uchimata because I'm right here on the inner thigh. Okay? Or I'm set up for a clip into the outside. So either one of these, which is Harai Goshi. So we're going to see whichever one of these you do, it doesn't really matter. He's going to go over. So what's going to happen is he's going to pick my leg up and start to drive into me. Okay? Then I'm going to just pop my hips up and reap the leg, either the inside leg or the outside leg. Okay? So I get here, he starts to drive a little bit, and I go on over. All I'm doing from here is, he's got my leg, I'm twisting and pulling, hopping on the supporting leg. Okay, the outside leg is the same way. He gets this, he comes in, a little drive, catch, and over he goes. Okay. From the other angle, this side. Okay, he drops down, he's got my leg, he's coming in. And there he is. Okay, also from this position, you can do a throw called sumageshi. It's a sacrifice throw where you're rolling the guy over. This is really similar to a lot of sweeps from butterfly guard, so if you're familiar with those, then this won't be that difficult to do. You're just doing it from a standing position. Okay, so if I'm here, I'm going to put my foot, I'm going to hook it inside and kind of stick to his thigh. Okay, so this is good to help prevent, if he tries to lift me up a little bit, okay, I can try to hook this in. It kind of gives me a little bit of protection against the lift. Okay, but the key is, what I want to do is to drop my weight underneath and sort of swing under him as I kick him over my shoulder. So if I'm here, okay, I have this leg hooked. What I'm going to do is drop and then roll over my shoulder, kicking my foot straight. Again, it's the same. You might have seen this sweep from the butterfly guard. It's the same kind of thing. You're just doing it from standing. Okay, so let me go through this. All right, I put the inner thigh in, especially if he drives in at all. What I'm going to do is drop, roll him over, and cross. And here, I put the leg up, the leg under, and then come over. The leg that's shooting under can either go between his legs or to the outside of his leg, depending on how wide his stance is. So I can either shoot this one under here or out here. It just depends on where his feet are. So if his feet are wide, it's going to go between his legs. And if they're narrow, it's going to go outside. Okay, it's important to know the motion is not straight back, but at an angle. So from here, it's over your shoulder. So over the shoulder of the leg that you're using to kick. So one more time. I get in here, okay, he maybe starts to drive into me a little bit. I put the leg up, shoot up, kick him over.
How should one train their throws and takedowns, and what percentage of their training should concentrate on the standing aspect of grappling?
I think the takedowns and throws, like anything else, should be trained alive so that you know, constant repetition against the non-resisting opponent isn't going to get you very far. So after the basic mechanics are learned, you need to do them from a moving position, do them from different grips, do them for different grip breaks against different energies with the opponent moving in, back, So you can drill that, and you also need to throw it against different body types, larger people, smaller people. But you can incorporate these throws. It doesn't take a long time. You only need a few takedowns. You need a few that you're really good with as opposed to a whole bunch that you can't do. So just pick a few that seem to fit and train those at the beginning of class. I'm a big fan of doing things in sequence. So you can show a grip breaking maneuver, a takedown that flows off of a specific grip. And from there, you can work different kinds of guard passes or different position, different techniques from the position that you land in. So you can show it as a part of a sequence. But I do think takedowns should be incorporated into every class. But again, as important as takedowns are, they're not as important as in judo. So the emphasis should still be on the ground game. So you can kind of look at a match and see, if you spend 15 or 20% of the match time on average in a standing position and the rest of the time on the ground, that's probably about how much time you should devote to training in class. So you just want to kind of analyze this, what you're doing and divvy up your time accordingly. Okay, this last section of the video, we're going to cover a drill that I came up with to kind of help. If you're trying to get the takedown and another person knows that you have some takedown skills, a lot of times they'll try to pull the guard. It's real common. So they're just going to jump into the guard or try to pull you into the guard. So what this next drill is a pressure drill to kind of help keep you from getting stuck in the guard every time if the person knows you have some takedown skills. So basically, to jump to the guard, if he's going to jump up and grab me in the guard, go ahead. Here, okay? Or another common one, probably less effective, is where he just sort of sits down and pulls me in the guard. Okay? And you won't see too many people do that at a high level because you can sort of step around it. But either way, he's going to be launching himself into me or pulling me onto him and to get the guard. So what I need to do is to put a pressure on him so that he can't do it. All this pressure is going forward. He has to jump forward or pull me into him. So if I can create a forward pressure that keeps him off balance, it's going to make it really hard for him to pull. Okay, with that in mind, when I grab him, okay, I want to start putting a downward pressure on him with this gi, and I also want to pull him in towards me, like this. Okay, so it doesn't matter what grip I have, over the back grip. If we have the over the back grip, then obviously we're set up for some other things. But when I get this, immediately start to pull and drag him forward. So at that point, he may put both hands down, but the thing is he can't get his legs under himself to catch you in the guard. Okay, you can even do it from a double sleeve grip. If he grabs me here, okay, I pop this back, I'm immediately going to start dragging him in. This arm is blocking his guard pulling. Okay, now obviously I can't stay like this forever, so what I want to do is utilize his momentum going backwards to set up a takedown. So after I drag him in, he's going to be really trying to pull backwards, and that's when I'm going to hit him with something. Okay, and it can be any of the throws that we talked about, or you can even use like a double leg movement. Pulling in here, he doesn't want this. Okay, so he's trying to get his sleeve up. When I feel that motion, I let it go, and then I can shoot. Okay, a single or a double. But the key is you're keeping him forward. So when you're doing this drill, have the person try to pull guard on you, and you keep a forward pressure. Just work it for a few steps, and then when you feel the motion, just do the takedown. Okay, so that's just a drill that can help you keep from getting stuck in the guard over time. Well, that wraps up the tape on judo takedowns for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Obviously, there's a lot more judo takedowns than that. Okay, what I did with this is put in the ones that I found effective, that I've used in competition, and that are basically high gain, low risk throws. Okay, so the key is when choosing any takedown, got it before, make sure that you're not, if you botch the takedown, you're not going to get burned. Okay, you don't want to try a 2-point takedown, mess it up, and give up your back for 4 points. It's just not worth it. So make sure that everything, try not to turn your back as much as possible. When you land, try to land in a good position. That's what all these throws are designed to do, is put you in good position. And you also want to make sure that you train these regularly and safely, so they become part of your game.